Good morning, Oracles. Well, yesterday wasn't a great day, down 1.76%. The entire market was down, so not, surprising that we were down as well. Tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow we are going to get production and delivery numbers out of Tesla for Q2. So a lot of consensus numbers that are out now. Looks like analyst consensus numbers are around 256,000 vehicles delivered. We've got Teslike, who is coming in with 254,000 vehicles, and his production number is 260,000. So Teslike is over on Twitter, and he has been the most accurate person when it comes to forecasting production and delivery for Tesla. So I'm definitely paying attention to his numbers. Personally, I have deliveries at 252,000, but with a bull case scenario, with the strong push they've been having for the last couple of weeks, I'm looking for potentially 272,000 vehicles to get delivered. Production-wise, I'm right around 265,000 vehicles. Again, this push at the end of the quarter, I think, is going to give us a lot. Now, several of you in the comments yesterday had mentioned a great point when it comes to, the rumors that we had coming out of Austin, whether it's 2,000 vehicles that they're pumping out per week or 5,000. Your points were there may have been a lot of unfinished vehicles in Austin that were just sitting there, maybe waiting for batteries or whatever was going on or some other parts, that once they got the 2170 tooling over there, they were able to just pop batteries into them quickly. This could explain that short-term surge that we might be seeing. Now again, we haven't had any confirmation from Tesla. We'll get that tomorrow when we get production and delivery numbers. But that was an awesome point by those of you who had mentioned that, because that really makes a lot of sense, and that could lead to 2,000 to 5,000 vehicles getting delivered per week because, hey, all they needed was batteries. That's fast. They can quickly pop in batteries into a vehicle way faster than building the entire vehicle itself. And so while I was kind of hoping that we were going to fill the gap down to 650 yesterday, we dipped down to about 657, so we got a little bit close. So my ideal situation for today is that we dip down and we fill the gap to 650. And then as we get into the end of the day, we have a little bit of a run up go into the end of the day, finish over 660, and then we go into the weekend. Now again, it's going to be a long weekend also. Normally we get a Friday fade going into the weekend, but with the red that we had yesterday and the day before, maybe we don't have a fade into the weekend. Maybe we actually get that last hour push and we go green. We'll see how that plays out, but that would be my ideal situation, that we actually close over 660, we get good production and delivery numbers on Saturday, and then when we open up on Tuesday, we gap up. Because if that ends up happening, that means we will have a higher gap than previously. And as we had discussed before, that is what I've been paying attention to, is where are the gaps? Are we making higher gaps down below than before? We have been on that trend upward. We had gaps down to 620, gaps at 635, now 650. So if we continue this trend going up with these gaps, that is a very bullish sign in my eyes, as we are making that move higher, which means that maybe 620 was the bottom. Obviously, a lot can happen in the macro environment. We are still getting up to our Q2 earnings, which we know are going to be weak. So that may end up bringing us down even further. But for the very near term, that is what I am paying attention to. So again, if we can close over 660, get good production and delivery numbers, gap up on Tuesday, we could have a good early start to next week. And now I've also had a lot of questions about, is this already priced into the stock price right now? Personally, I think that production and delivery numbers of 255 to 260,000 vehicles are already priced into the stock right now. But the actual financials that we're going to get at Q2 earnings are not priced in, because we have already heard that Tesla had some plans to offset the ramp costs when it came to Austin and Berlin, but they were not planning for a month shutdown in Shanghai. So that could change things, that could throw things off. They also didn't plan for a $500 million Bitcoin impairment that we're most likely going to be facing when it comes to Q2 earnings as well. So again, yesterday was the last day of the quarter, so we're looking at most likely about $500 million in Bitcoin impairment. We're going to have that extra month of downtime in Shanghai. So right now, analysts are looking at actual production and delivery numbers, and they're going to base their EPS off of those numbers, because the other pieces that we don't know about that Tesla is planning for are uncertain and unknown. So This is how the stock is most likely going to swing when it comes to Tuesday. If we fall between 250 and 260,000 vehicles for production and delivery, probably not much of a change. If we come in under 250,000 vehicles, we're probably going to see some pretty decent red on Tuesday. If we come in over 270,000 vehicles, we're going to see a very green day on Tuesday. And again, this is just literally analysts are going to be taking a look at EPS and saying, well, this is the actual delivery number that we got. We can now change our, average selling price of vehicles, which is probably going to be $53,000 to $54,000 per vehicle. So we start lumping that in, and now you just do the simple math, and that's how they're going to base off of it. So the unknown figure that we're going to be getting at the earnings is going to be the expenses. What expenses did they have? Are they going to be recognizing any FSD revenue to offset some of these costs? That, I have a feeling, is what's going to happen. When they switched over to the autopilot sales of $6,000, how many people decided to take that versus not taking anything at all? Maybe that was a little bit of a boost because that's going to be basically pure profit that they can recognize to offset some of the costs as well. So again, a lot of unknowns going into the Q2 earnings when it comes to expenses and these little surprises that they have in their back pocket. So that's why we're looking at straight EPS based off of delivery numbers that we're going to get tomorrow and the average selling price, which is again probably going to be about $53,000 to $54,000. And you may ask about the payroll cuts that they did already. Well, those came so late in the quarter, probably will be very negligible when it comes to any cost reduction for this quarter. That will be reflected in Q3 numbers because that's where we're going to be going through an entire quarter of that payroll being lower. So again, that's really not going to be reflected in Q2 earnings. And there's still a lot of speculation out there as to why Elon hasn't been on Twitter over the last week. So if he actually breaks his Twitter silence today or tomorrow, that would definitely lead me to believe that it was due to him really focusing hard on getting production and delivery going for the last week or so of this quarter. So again, there's other speculation that maybe he was off of Twitter to pay attention to Twitter things, and focusing on that. But realistically, I can't, knowing that Elon is so focused on changing the world over to renewable energy and knowing that production is so vital to that, I really can't fathom him focusing on Twitter during the last week of a quarter that he knew that they were struggling. That to me doesn't make any sense. Maybe he did, maybe I'm wrong, but I really think that he was focusing hard on doing this. I mean, they were having high up executives delivering vehicles over in LA, personally delivering them. So it was literally an all hands on deck week that was going on. So I have a feeling Elon was there. I mean, Jonna Kreider was there and she interviewed him last week and he was in Austin working in the factory and still took time to be interviewed by her. So that tells me that he was definitely in the factory, so he had to be working on production and deliveries and making sure that things were going as smoothly as possible to crank out as many vehicles as they could. And now I know that Joe Tagmeyer is down in Austin as well, and there's a lot of people who do drone flyovers to see what's going on in vehicles coming out, and they, count the vehicles to see how many are coming. So, it doesn't seem like that many are coming out. Maybe there's a lot that are just kind of hidden there. Maybe they're doing it at night when he's not there doing drone flyovers. And then I thought about it and I'm like, well, we have heard about the Boring Company working on making tunnels over there. Maybe they're working on tunnels underneath Austin to get vehicles going out so we can't actually see them coming out of there. I don't know if that's something that they would do. It sounds pretty awesome, and they have like a secret location where the vehicles are actually coming out, and maybe that's why they've been so secretive on the numbers there. I mean, Shanghai numbers we get on a monthly basis. That's never a question. Austin, we have like no information. We're getting some info out of Berlin. We know that they did 1,000 per week a couple weeks ago, but Austin has been like silent. And we know that Austin is being touted as the most efficient factory on the planet. So maybe they're just really keeping things quiet over there so that nobody else knows what's going on. And so maybe we will be pleasantly surprised. Maybe we will get that rabbit pulled out of a hat. I honestly cannot fathom them actually beating Q1 numbers, so I'm not going to keep my hopes up for that one. But maybe pulling the rabbit out of the hat is beating 270,000 vehicles. Maybe that's it. And if they can pull that off, I think we're going to see an awesome week. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are your predictions for production and delivery? And what do you think the average selling price for the vehicles is going to be? Because again, those are the two big numbers that we are going to be looking at to recalculate things out. Because as soon as we get them, that's the first thing I am going to do is put those numbers into my valuation model, and that'll adjust my EPS. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what yours are, and we'll see who's going to be the closest when tomorrow rolls around. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. We can chat all things Tesla, stock market, investing, whatever you guys want over there. So if you want to hop over to join the community, we can talk. I do have a Patreon as well if you would like to support the channel any further. Thank you so much. Have a great one.